Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. Let's have a look at the new impossible mission for Tsukuyomi Zero. Alrighty, and then gimmicks here are mostly blocks, a little bit of gravity barriers, and then no hearts. So we'll get the healing walls out later. And then the types of enemies that we see here, we see soldiers, they just shoot out attacks. We see wizard-looking guys, and then these guys will shoot out gravity barriers if we leave them out too long. So if we did not have a lot of characters with no gravity barrier, we could take them down early. And then we saw the eyeball-looking guys up there at the top. And yeah, I'll talk about them in the next stage when we see them again. But yep, there is the gravity barrier that the wizard shoots out. Although, it is possible to take a number of characters without no gravity barrier, and that wouldn't be too big of a deal. And actually, it would be okay to bring a couple characters without no block as well. Just as long as you have some characters with both of those. Okay, here we see more wizards and more knights. They will do the same thing. And then we see the eyeballs there, one on the left, one on the right. And what these will do, they will move around, and then they will heal everybody on the screen. And then they will also revive each other every turn. So if we want to get rid of them, we need to take them down on the same turn. And then we do want to take them down first, since they do heal everybody else. However, if we are able to take down a little guy just in one turn, all in one go, then they will not be revived by anybody, and they won't be healed by anybody, of course. So, alright, and then as we can see, there are often blocks in the way of us pinching in between the two eyeball guys. So that's why it's useful to have no block. But the blocks do go up and down every turn. So it is possible to, you know, kind of work around that with characters without no block. And then usually when the eyeballs start out, they'll be far away from each other. And then when they move, they will go back to different parts of the screen. What we can do is we can take down one of the eyeballs and then kind of mess up that order of movement so that they end up next to each other, making it easy to either pinch in between them or go through them with Pierce characters. Alright, and then to talk about the team that I'm using, first I'm using Arctica Evolution. She is a bounce with no gravity barrier and no block, so she's pretty much perfect for this quest. She's got a strong homing bump combo, and then a tackle plus stun strike shot, which can be really good against the boss. Next I'm using Miyamoto Musashi Ascension. He is a Pierce with no gravity barrier and Dark Slayer. He does not have no block, so he'll be a little bit limited in his movement. Okay, but there we took down the top eyeball, and so when it was revived, the lower eyeball came up, and so now they're next to each other. So from now on, the order or the placement of them is going to be together, which will make it easier, especially for my bounce characters, to take them down. Okay, next up I'm using Sanzan Hoshi. She is a Pierce with Dark Resistance and Dark Slayer, so she'll both do more damage here, and then also take less damage herself. She does have a Rebound Laser bump combo, which will not be super useful here since there's a lot of guys with laser barriers. And then finally I'm using a Harley X. She's another bounce with no gravity barrier, no block. And then her attack is so high, I said this in the review for her, but her attack is so high that she has basically everything Slayer. So she'll be a good source of damage. Okay, so here is the Miniboss stage for Mandrake. And yeah, as we can see, we took down the wizard, and then a healing wall came out. And this is our first chance in this mission to heal, actually. So all of those early stages we needed to get through without healing. So in that sense, it's kind of like Tsukuyomi, the regular one. But yeah, here if we take down the little guys, healing walls will come out, and then we get a chance to heal there. And then Mandrake has Demi-Hume Slayer, so we want to be careful about bringing Demi-Humes into this quest, but only for this stage. And then this quest of Tsukuyomi Zero, it's easier than the other Zero series, I would say. There are fewer stages where there is an ultimate attack from a monster, and when there are ultimate attacks, they usually have a longer count until they go off. Yeah, so for that reason, this quest is easier than some of the other Zero quests. Okay, so I am trying to get these two eyeball guys next to each other so I can take them down on the same turn. Not quite making it work, though. And that's part of the reason why this video is so long, is because I am having trouble with these revival loops. Okay, so here I have a chance. I have Artica able to get in there with the null block. Wasn't quite able to do enough damage to the right side though, so we'll have to start over. And then here is also a decent chance if I were able to get around that block, but not quite. But yeah, as you can see, not a whole lot of pressure to finish this stage within a certain amount of turns. Yeah, just because the eyeballs do not have a one-hit KO. They do on other stages, though. So if we do see an eyeball with 3 numbers on it, then that's a sign of a one-hit KO. Alright, well I'm tired of this going nowhere, so I'm going to go ahead and use Harley X's Strike Shot. That is the tackle with explosion on first contact, and then her speed is reduced. So I need to make sure that she is pretty close to her target. So yeah, we got it in the weak point, 3.5 million damage, and then we can move on to the next stage. Alright, and that is Tsukuyomi Zero, the mini-boss. And then, again, we want to get rid of the eyeballs by pairs on the first turn, or on the same turn, so that they do not revive each other, and so that they do not heal all of the other guys on the screen. Okay, so there with Miyamoto Musashi, we were able to take down 1 pair. And we also took down the soldier, or the knight, so the healing wall came out as well. And then from now, there will be multiple pairs of the eyeballs on screen. And then they are kind of linked to each other. We can't take down any 2 just at random. We have to take them down in the pairs that are assigned to them. And then the way that we can tell which is paired to which is looking at the weak points and then seeing if they are facing each other. So here we have the 2 eyeballs. The one on the left, the weak point's facing right, and then the opposite for the other one. So that's how we can tell that they are paired, and that we want to take them down on the same turn. And yeah, unless you can take down the boss in 1 hit, it's not really worth going after her until you take down the eyeballs. So that's why, you know, 1-hit KO strike shots are really good, like Harley X's. But actually, if the weak point appears on the bottom of Tsukuyomi Zero here, then it's possible to get stuck down there with a bounce type and possibly take her down. Okay, but there we took down the eyeball on the right, and so when it was revived, it ended up in the same place, or next to the top eyeball when it moved down. So now we've kind of reset the movement schedule, so it will be easier for our bounce characters to get them. But another nice thing about this mission is that Tsukuyomi Zero will revive the little guys every few turns. And that's really nice, because that means more chances for healing walls for us. Alright, so here with a Sanzan Holshi, we will try to get above that block, and then hopefully get enough hits in on the eyeballs to take them down. And there they go. So yeah, now finally the revival loop is done, so we can now go after the mini-boss. Okay, so there was Tsukuyomi Zero's strongest attack for this stage. And yeah, as we can see, it only took away about a third of our bar, health bar. So we don't really need to consider it a one-hit KO. So yeah, as long as our HP is high enough, we can survive it. And then, of course, the little guys will come out with their healing wall counterattack, so not too difficult. Okay, so here is the first boss stage. And again, the way that the eyeballs are paired, we want to look at where their weak points are facing each other. So yeah, even though we had two eyeballs in the lower right-hand corner, they are not paired. So if we do, for example, say pinch in between them, that will not end a revival loop. But yeah, pretty much the same as before. We want to take down the little guys so that they shoot out their healing walls. Take down the eyeballs so that they stop the revival loop and the healing, and then go after the boss. And then the boss here has a Sprite Slayer, so we want to be careful about bringing sprites into this mission. Okay, so we kind of messed up the order of how the eyeball pair on the left moves. So we are able to get a couple hits in with Miyamoto Musashi, and then take down that pair. And then with the Sanzan Holshi, let's hit those two guys. Alright, pretty good. And then, as we shall see, she's going to be my MVP for taking down these eyeball guys. Alright, so here with the Harley X, we're going to miss the gauge so that we can get in between the blocks and the boss and get in more hits. Alright, we'll just keep doing damage to her. Okay, very good. Okay, second boss stage. Here we see lots of little guys, which means lots of healing walls that we could possibly get out. And so what I'll do here, I'll take down the wizard to prevent those gravity barriers from coming out. But also take down the lower eyeball, and so when the upper eyeball comes down, they'll be together. So again, with a Sanzan Holshi, we will go in there and take him down. Very good. And then now we can just take down the little guys and then go after the boss. So yeah, this stage went pretty smoothly. And it's also a really good stage for healing because we can, because it's kind of close quarters, there's lots of blocks, so that we can get more hits in on the healing wall. So we'll do that again here, and then we'll pick up the boot as well. And a couple hits on the boss. And full life, not too bad. Okay, decent damage there. Okay, with a Harley X, we'll get in between the wall and the boss. Unfortunately, we'll get in a regular bound though, so we won't hit the weak point there. And yes, there is the revival of the little guys, just as the healing walls ran out. So we're able to take them down again and get more healing walls. Okay, pretty decent damage there. Okay, so the wizard will shoot out the gravity barriers. But here, Sanzan Holshi is kind of already inside the gravity barrier, and she will never leave it. So that doesn't really affect her speed, which is why she was able to take down the boss there. Okay, last stage. Here I'm going to use Harley X's Everything Slayer, and then we'll get above and then take down that pair of eyeballs. And again, we know they're a pair because their weak points are facing each other. With Artica here, we will take down the wizard and then prevent those gravity barriers from coming out. Alright, very good. Alright, and I'd love to take down that other eyeball pair. So with Musashi here, we will kind of do a crazy angle and then just hope. Okay, excellent. That was pretty lucky. Alright, and then all of my strike shots are charged up, so I'm just waiting for good chances to get at the boss's weak point. Sanzan Holshi, anytime she hits a weak point, she'll do extra damage. So we'll just go in here and try to get a couple hits. And there we go, that's pretty good, I think, for 2 hits. And then with Harley X, I could have, bounced off the walls in order to hit the weak point. But again, with her strike shot, her speed is lowered. So I didn't think I was going to be able to reach the weak point there. But Artica does not have that problem, so we'll bounce off the wall a couple times and then hit the weak point for the stun. Okay, very good. Good damage too. And then finally with Miyamoto Musashi, we'll use his strike shot to do the explosion on first contact. Which the Dark Slayer enhances, so that's big damage. Okay, so that was Tsukuyomi Zero. And you can play with a mix of characters that are bounce and pierce, although probably more bounce is better. And then a mixture of characters with null gravity barrier and null block. You probably want at least 2 null block characters though. Okay, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.